Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Before I start playing anything, I'm going to complain about how the last two games I played, a game capture is just like, oh, sorry, we can't capture this. So I have to freaking use the entire screen capture, which isn't even that bad, but I just think it's annoying. I don't know what possibly could be so different about these games that game capture is like, no, you can't see that. But enough about that. Window capture didn't work either because I don't know why. They just don't show up when I did window capture. Like they wouldn't show up as one of the capturable tabs. So it's fine. I can do this. I turned off like Windows notifications. That won't be a problem. But this game is going to be a lot of me just reading because it's a choose your own adventure book basically that they made into a computer game. Yes, I did launch as admin as well. I really don't, yeah, reading, which I suck at. So I'm gonna mispronounce like probably a word like every sentence. So especially because they're gonna introduce like fake name words, so it's gonna suck. You have walked the wilds of cock cockabad through Kari and the spiteful Backlands. I know that one. All the way into Mampang. It's already awful. You have survived traps, thieves, serpents, and vengeful gods. And now it's here. The Crown of Kings. I'm really liking the track in the background. It's pretty good. It said the crown was never forged, only found by Kalana the Reformer, a lowly foot soldier who became emperor of the eastern world. Such is the power of the crown. There around it crackles with influence. Take it. Your destiny awaits. With the crown in your hands, you prepare. Uh, I'm freaking reading non-existent words. With the crown in your hands, you will be as powerful as Kalana. The goblins are arming, the giants are walking, the birdmen carving cruel daggers from stone. War will come, but you will prevent it. But then the image of the crown begins to flicker. You rush forwards. It's a trap? And startle yourself awake. You are alone, exhausted in a little hut in the outpost settlement. Your unimaginable journey has not even a single step begun. Okay. I'm really, I'm making it through this. Uh, how long has it been? Like, not even like 3 minutes of me playing the game, and I'm already not being able to read. Okay, so also this game split into I think four parts. The first two come in a bundle together, so I have parts one and two, but I'd have to buy the other ones because I don't. This is also you might be like, why is the game play like this? And I believe that's literally because it was a mobile game. It is sunrise. You dress, breakfast and bed, breakfast on bread and goat's milk, and collect the pack and sword from beside your bed. Test the blade. You pause to test your blade against your thumb. The blacksmith has done well. The edge is keen and draws a narrow line of blood. Outside the hut, you hear the outpost sediment stirring into life. Pray for luck. Taking a moment more, you close your eyes and raise a prayer to my spirit guide. This morning it is the form of a panther. But what will it become once your journey truly begins? A great calm descends upon you. Time to go. Time then to depart. You lift back the flap of the hut and step into the early morning sunshine. Yes, yeah. This is like the mobile game, right? Like, oh, rag. Eyes follow you as you leave the hut and walk towards the great Shumanti wall. The front the frontiers people of the Tiny Seven are well aware of your mission. Greet them. You turn to them and bow. Some smile in reply but are too afraid to approach. Others make gestures of protection. You are well beyond the wall, so they believe you to be cursed. A man is waiting on the path to the Cantopani Gate, the final doorway between Analand and the wilds of Kakavad. You recognize the sergeant of the Sight Master of Warriors. He holds out his hand. No reason to be mad. I won't be evil. Greetings, Sergeant. He touches his forehead with 2 fingers. You are almost ready, he says. I have for you a gift from the king. 24 gold pieces is all we could spare at this time. Kakavad. Yeah, right? That's like literally what they named it. I'm gonna take all of it because I feel like if I'm like, oh no, you keep half of it, I'm going to like die because like I feel like I'm gonna lose. You accept the gift graciously. Thank you. You should buy some supplies before you pass the wall, the sergeant says, and you must collect your spell book if you wish magic to aid you. Finally, should you wish to practice your swords play, I will go one last round with you. And he points with his staff towards the training ground. Okay. This game is like all about using magic, but apparently you can just not get the spell book and then just never use magic ever. Yeah, like right here. One of the huts, set slightly back from the others, is decorated with glyphs and strange symbols. A terrible smell emanates from its doorway. This is the hut of the chief mage. He has been preparing your spellbook for days, reading star charts to work out which spells will be available for you in different locations in the hills and beyond. Go inside. You lift the flap and go inside. The mage looks up at you with haggard, sleepless eyes and presses the book into your hands. Do you understand how to use this, he asks? Tell me. Each spell is crafted through the alignment of 3 stars. He begins. The spell Zap, for example, is made by aligning Zarathustra, Argus, and Beanie. But this is not important. What matters is what the spell is called, and not what it and what it does. Zap will give you control over lightning. Hot will create a fireball. Foff will create a force field around you. Shall I continue? Tell me more. Ooh, my spirit evolved to the gorilla. The mage nods. The law spell is formed from Lilith, Aegis, and Wex, and it will allow you to control the will of unintelligent creatures. The wall spell is quite different and uses different stars. The order matters. You see, wall creates an invisible barrier. You will find the rest in the book. Thank you. He scratches absently at his ear. Remember, some spells will cost you effort to use, but the ones that don't will not work without a focus, an item of some kind. You need to read the book to know what. Okay, so I'm not going to read the spell book. 48 spells. Zap, Ploff, Law, Dumb, Hot, Wall. Oh, okay, cool. Some of them, yeah, like this one. Walk. Dumb! Yeah. Walk requires 1 gold piece to use. Big walk, you true. True? Raz. Oh, wait! Sus. Gob. Jig. Yob. Gum. Ow. Duck. Daz, Dud, Mag, Pup. Ball, Dim, Bog, Mud. Niftel. Gak, Sap. God. Kin. Peep, Rock. Nip, Huff. Hicksnap. Zen, Yaz. Sun, Kid. Why are there so many? Okay. Okay, good. Um, let's go to the training ground before anything else. Ready my sword. First, defend yourself against me. Yeah, Dr. Seuss book. Yeah, so this is like how the thing works. Oh, I see. The Slight Master is a powerful enemy. By defending, you receive the minimum damage from any attack you made. The Slight Master Sergeant chooses a strong attack. You turn it away with minimal impact. My next attack will be weak. You'll be able to overpower me by playing a stronger attack. But be sure your attack is stronger. Hammer the 6. Okay. Next attack will be a medium strength. You may be able to overpower me. Sure. I win. Skilled sword player. Yeah, you know, if you want to be like, I'm a nerd. Let me try again to lose less HP. Enough training. That's fine. We're good. Buy some supplies. That's important. Uh, Small traders in the settlement supply the Slight Master Warriors with weapons, armor, food, and clothing. You go over with the sergeant to see a star selling flatbreads and cheese. 2 gold pieces per ration, the owner says. I'll take 4. Which is 8, yes. That's fine. You hand over your coins and the man places 4 rations carefully into your pack. You must be sure you eat every day or you will suffer, the sergeant tells you. Is that a threat? Standing at your side. Eating more will give you extra strength, but is not necessary. Okay. Oh yeah, you know, if you want to, I could just like do it like no, and then I could waste a whole bunch of time. Aw, he didn't do it properly. Reach the foot of the mighty gate. It is sealed. The sergeant places one hand over the door. The gate has been locked for some time to deter raiders, he tells you. But you will have no difficulty. The stars in place now allow the DOP spell to be crafted, and he stands back. Okay. Okay. Like, yeah, he told me to use the DOP spell, right? Which is funny. But if you're just like the worst person ever, you could do this. And then just burn the gate down. Or you could use Zap too. But like, I'm gonna go for like the good guy route. Dop. You weave the spell. One by one, the great tumblers on the door begin to creak and groan. Then the hinges turn with a noise like hail on a canvas roof. The gates have not been opened since our last champion was lost, the sergeant says. I wish you more luck than he. Perhaps you will even meet him on your travels. If I overtake him, then he is too slow. The Slight Master nods, peering at something on the horizon. I believe he is returning, but transformed. I hope you do not meet the same fate. He claps you on the shoulder. My god changed into the raven. What does that mean? Does it say anything? I can't check. Together you step into the shadow of the wall. One last word, he declares. When you have the crown, find the highest point you can find. We'll be watching. I understand. I will not wish you a safe journey to Kare, for the way ahead will not be safe, the sergeant murmurs, as he peers into the distance through the open gate. The Sight Master's warriors are selected from birth for the incredible power of telescopic vision. You cannot help but wonder how far he can see. What lies ahead? The path leads first to Cantopani, a settlement of traders, though most are rogues and thieves. You should be there before the sun has reached its peak. From there, three routes lead on to Christ- Christatanti, but no single route is safe. Kakavad is a land of devils. And beyond Kare? I cannot see so far, he says, but once you have crossed the city port of traps, you enter the backlands. They say that day and night there are controlled by forces other than the sun, and from Kare too your progress will be watched. It is time to go. You thank him. You pass through the gate. The faces of the folk watching your departure reveal the hopes that rest on you and your quest. The early morning air is crisp, and the rising sun paints the slopes in shades of peaceful beauty, concealing the evil that lies ahead. Into Kakabad. I hate. Why couldn't they choose a better name for that specifically? The path winds through slopes of wild scrubland. The countryside is deserted, and the eerie silence is broken only by the cawing of the occasional crow. There is a spell for hearing what they say, but you do not have the equipment it requires. The bird appears to pause in the air to examine you as they pass. Stupid creatures. They pose no threat, so you ignore them. Barely an hour beyond the wall, and the air begins to grow foul. The Shamanti hills are infested with the pestilence of the backlands. It saps the energy from your body, leaving you feeling nauseous and weak. Cover my mouth. You cover your mouth with your neck scarf, but it does no good. They warned you of this. You will grow accustomed to it the longer you're out here, but for the moment you must be very careful. Your maximum stamina just decreased. You can see your stamina at the top of the screen. If it reaches 0, you'll be too tired to carry on. Stamina can be regenerated up to the maximum by eating rations or resting. Okay. Why would I go like across the fields? I'll continue on the path. Another hour passes and you crest a small hillock, from the top of which you can see the path continuing downwards into the small settlement of huts. This must be Cantopani. Look at the village. From this distance, it's hard to make out much about the town, except that it must be desperately poor. The fields on either side are brown with caked mud, and the few penned animals are thin and wizened like thirsty vines. No wonder the Sightmaster warriors don't trouble themselves to protect their place. There's nothing here to protect. Why would I avoid the village? I need things. Let's go. Of course, if you were scared of a town like Katapani, then you'd have no hope to survive in Kakabad proper. You follow the path down into town. The round huts are made of a hard-baked bright clay, and the roofs are thinly thatched. As you pass, eyes appear at dark doorways, tracking your every move. For a moment, it seems like this will be all you see of the town's inhabitants. But then a villager appears from one of the dwellings and blocks your path. Look at him. He is 5 feet tall, short. They cannot grow much taller out here in this poisonous air. He has thick-set arms and thighs, and is half clothed in tattered breeches. His eyes are wild, and his long red hair and beard stands out from his face in a whirly tangle. Halt, stranger, he commands. What business have you in Katapani? He probably has great personality. No, I think he's a bit too tall. I want to buy equipment. He grunts, but you can see that he is pleased. With emotion, he encourages you to follow, though, taking you through the village to a lodge. Inside, you find a building. The building is a storage house. A quartermaster, somewhat plumper than your guide, is seated at the table. Wait to be introduced. This man is here to do business, the villager explains. Get out of here, flea. The man replies, getting up from his seat to hustle the villager out. Then he turns to you with a smile and beckons you to sit. Greetings, stranger. Shall I show you my wares? Please. The, the man wags a finger. Wait there. Okay, now wait. The merchant returns, carrying a large box. For you, he declares, moving his hands as he speaks. You've come to the right place. The collection, this collection, the very best, our most strange and interesting artifacts, collected from other travelers who have come this way. He begins to lay out the items in front of you, treating each with great care. You have 16 gold pieces to spend. Is there anything you want to buy? Potion, a pipe, a weapon, and a leather bag and a jewel. Let's see what the pipe is. You picked a bamboo pipe off the table, carved with a split reed and 6 finger holes. What use is this? Are you selling off your infant toys? 3 gold pieces, the merchant says. I can't promise you that has any magic, but it may cheer you up at night. Let's play it. You place the pipe to your lips and blow a few clear, sweet notes. The merchant nods. It's a well-made little thing, don't you agree? Sure. I like music. You hand him 3 gold pieces and he thanks you with a nod. You place the pipe into your bag. What's the potion? Lift a flask containing some kind of potion from the box, and turn it between your hands. The liquid inside is thick and purple. What does it do? I'm a mere tradesman, he answers, but I assure you, it is of the finest quality. Not today, my friend. Very good, the merchant says, patting his money pouch. You're a man of good judgment, I see. What else? A leather bag? Teeth. Finest creature teeth. Only 3 pieces. What kinds of creature? Goblins, giants, mole rats? All sorts, the merchant replies. I couldn't tell you myself. I'm no expert. But there's 10 or 12 in there. For 3 gold pieces? Well, it's a good price. It's a good price. I'll take it. What's the weapon? Merchant looks at you carefully, sizing up what kind of customer you are. A newly bought dagger against his, are you the kind to place a newly bought dagger against his neck, or the kind to tip him for the quality of the blade? But he must see your honor shining through as he wags his finger once more and then collects an axe and a fine broadsword from another corner of the shop. These are both treasures, as well as deadly weapons of war. Look at the broadsword. You lift the broadsword. It has a ready weight and the cutting edge is sharp. It's clearly been honed by a master of craftsmanship. Only 7 gold pieces. Too much for me. It is not the blade for me, you explain. The merchant nods, then begins to pack his box away once more. I must save something for my next customer, he replies, but perhaps you will return this way, and it will be you. You get to your feet and take your leave of the merchant. Just outside the doorway in the sunshine, you pause to examine what you have acquired. Look at the bag of teeth. You open the drawstring bag and sift through the contents. That's quite an assortment. There are 3 teeth from an ape, 4 from a goblin, and 2 from a snatacat, and a large molar from a giant that is the size of a ripe plum. Cool. Why did I get the baboon? Can I check that out? I cannot. Passing the outlying huts, you feel strangely uneasy. Hissing from within and sly faces disappearing from doorways make you feel decidedly unwelcome. Then at the edge of town, you pass a large boulder, and at once 2 rough-cut villagers spring out with swords drawn. Bandits! 2 against 1, the first declares. You're lost. Call the others. So hand over your things. Come on. Reason with them. I don't want any trouble, you declare. The first bandit edges forward, a sword tickling at your chest. No, okay. Defend myself. You draw yourself to full height. You have mistaken me for someone else, you declare. I'd like to give you a moment to reconsider, because I will kill you if I have to. The bandits growl and advance on you. One on either hand. That's a spell. Why would I ever fight someone fairly? J! Ah! G! Causes lively dancing. You pull the bamboo flute from your bag, raise the spell, and begin to play a merry tune. The angry faces of the bandits turn to expressions of astonishment as they find their limbs jerking in time with the music, quite out of control. The swords fly from their hands, and they are soon dancing merrily around you. Lead them back to the village. Piping loudly, you direct them back to the village. As they dance away, you continue your journey. But half an hour later, you reach the start of the climb into the hills proper and continue upwards. The pacifist playthrough. Leaving Katapani behind marks the true start of the wilderness. Beyond that tiny outpost, there are scattered homesteads and Kare, a thriving city port. But all are touched by cruelty, isolation, and fear. The backlands and the long shadow cast by Mangpang Fortress darken everything. And with the crown gone, and with the crown stolen, things can only get worse. In the long years since Kalana, the reformer, founded the alliance, the crown has been passed from kingdom to kingdom every 4 years, ensuring each one has its turn to lead, but no more. Ruddlestone, Lenderland, Galantaria, and Bryce have all enjoyed its power, but not Anoland. But when the crown came to Anoland, it was stolen by birdmen from Zaman and carried off to Mangpen. With the crown, the Archmage will be unstoppably powerful. There is no chance of sending an army against him. A military force will not survive the journey. So here you are, a lone hero, walking the long path to Mangpen alone. 5 minutes later, you reach a fork in the road. The sergeant, for all his eyesight, hadn't mentioned this. The road splits around the base of a gigantic tree, but does not rejoin on the other side. The left path winds down into a valley, and the right rises up a slope towards the first thick forest of hills. Look right. It's hard to see much farther uphill. The forest is sudden and thick, and the path narrow. It may be hard going in the direction, but the hills will involve a lot of climbing. Eventually, and you may get a decent view the next leg from the top of the ridge. Look left. You pause to consider the lower route. There was a river there. And the path follows the left bank. It is a safer route, secluded and protected, but the curve of the landscape would mean that you are almost backtracking. You are about to make your choice when you hear a faint cry from somewhere close at hand. Look around. You look around, and finally, up in the branches of the tree, a pair of wizened, calloused feet are dangling down from overhead, about to drop on you, perhaps. Who's there? Who's there, you call? The voice cries again, a little more boldly this time. Up here! Help! Help! I can't get down! It's the voice of a feeble, wily old man. Stepping back a little, you see him clearly, as thin as sticks and dressed in dirt rags. I'll help him down. Swinging yourself onto the lowest branch of the tree, you reach up and grab the old man by the waist. He is light as a leaf, and within a moment, you have lifted him to the ground. Thanks for all that, he remarks, brushing himself down and almost knocking himself over in the process. I was just starting to get a bit, perturbed. But I'm on the safe now. He seems remarkably confident considering that the slightest stumble might break him into bits. What will you do now? You ask. Keep going for Anoland, he says. That's where I set off from. Well, back now, you wouldn't believe the story. Well, back now, you wouldn't believe the story if I told you. Suffice to say, though, if I know my eyes from my eyes, you're heading out to Mangpan, and you better be smarter than I was, ain't ya? He presses a page into your hands. It's a torn page from a spellbook. This might be of some use to you. I found this. Just found it. Mind, and don't go asking how. But it's no good to me anymore. Let's look at the page. You look over the page suspiciously. It seems to be half of a spell, CA, that might have been used for pest repulsion, but it's unworkable in its current state. Keep it. You take the page and thank him. The man falls quiet and squats down on the ground. With his jabbering done, you hear a buzzing sound up on the tree, a beehive. Climb up and investigate. Leaving the old man sighing with gratitude on the ground, you climb up through the branches of the tall tree. The beehive hangs like a ripe fruit from the very highest branch. A large number of bees dance out in a swarm. Use magic. Cast a spell. Dumb, I think it is. Dawes? No. Stop? No, that's not gonna stop the beehive. What is it? Law? Control non-intelligent creatures. True. This is what I need. Bees, no intelligence. You cast a spell, concentrating on the swarm that surrounds the beehive. You feel in your mind taking control of theirs. Several hundred small consciousness falling under your will. You lead them like a general directing an army away from the hive, allowing you to clamber up and relieve them of a succulent honeycomb and a nice ball of beeswax. That's a nice trick, the old man remarks. You stash your finds in your pack. The light is fading. It's time to move on. Oh! The man cries suddenly. Do you want to hear me riddle? I heard it from the Elvins. Hear him out. You gesture with a hand for him to speak. See him though he sees you not. A stinging beast in a box not left. To guard a key, it is his lot. To guard a witch of luck befet. You thank him. You nod once, then turn your attention to the path ahead. Okay, well, where do I want to go? I could never resist going to the mines. And the mines are on the right, so I want to go to the mines. No, I'm not rewinding. You can do that too if you're like, oh, I made a mistake. Let me rewind. The high road seems to be more secure. In a valley, you can be easily observed from above and led astray. But out in the hills, you can go whichever way you choose. Of course, when night falls, it may be cold and exposed up on the slopes, but no matter. This journey was never designed to be easy. You begin to climb, letting the old man's jabbering fade quickly away. The path winds upwards into the hills and into the cover of a wood. The afternoon sun glints through the trees and plays tricks on your eyes. Every so often, you catch a glimpse of some strange-shaped animal or others watching you, only to find that it's a silhouette of branches and leaves caught at an odd angle. After an hour's walk, you start to feel hungry. Stop and eat. You clamber on top of a low stone dolmen, then sit and pull out the sugary honeycomb and eat, while admiring the view down the hillside through a break in the trees. You feel better for your rest. Time to move on. You stand and put on your pack, on which you've been sitting to prevent any creatures getting in or any of your things falling out. Then you return to the path. The climb continues. With the path twisting this way, the air grows cold and the sun flickers on the horizon, then sets, making it hard to see your way. But the moon is full, and when twilight is done, it will be bright once more. Uh, it's dark. Make a camp. But to tire yourself out on the first day would be inauspicious. You settle down to make a camp for the night in a natural shelter provided by the roots of three gigantic intertwined trees. Your backpack will serve for a pillow and your cloak for a blanket. Before settling to sleep, you check through your pack. You have 4 rations left. I've already eaten. I don't need to eat again. You lay yourself on. Oh, it looks like there's some kind of creature. You lay yourself on the ground and quickly asleep. The moon is full and high in the sky. When next your eyes open, you feel warm and more cozy than you did before, as if wrapped in a gigantic blanket. There's this pain in your leg. Slowly you realize what is happening. A giant bat has settled on your chest and is feeding on your leg. Cast a spell. I'm gonna use it. I oh no, that's G. I'm gonna use this at every opportunity because there's no downside. It doesn't get rid of the flute and it doesn't cost any life. Jig. You raise the spell and play a sweet tune on the bamboo pipe. The bat begins to hop absurdly from foot to foot, spinning around and holding out its wings. You entertain yourself with the thing for a few minutes, then grab it in one hand and lob it away into the trees, where it begins to take flight, not to return. Smiling to yourself, you settle back down. Once again, the crown fills your dreams, only now, instead of being hidden away in Manpang Fortress by the Archmage, you see it on the head of a burly villager from Kansopani. Anyone can wear the crown, he declares to you, but wearing the crown, you are no longer just anyone. And then he points a finger at you that seems to crackle with energy, and you find yourself drawn towards him, commanded to do his bidding. Suddenly, you are surrounded by angry bees. You're walking towards a crack in the ground. Seems sore to swallow you whole. You stumble at the edge, about to fall. Okay, and then I wake up because the second day of your journey begins in the morning cool, still halfway between sleeping and waking. You feel the presence of your spirit, the gorilla, close nearby. Its form, its form has changed since you left Analand, just as you have changed, but it's still walking beside you. In the temple, they taught you that a prayer to your spirit could heal disease, lift curses, even save you from certain death. But the spirits are not generous and decline to help often. You can ask for spirit's aid by using the pray button. You can feel yourself getting accustomed to the fetid air of these hills. You now have ascended several hundred feet and can expect to make excellent progress before the end of the day. As you crest the brow of a hill, you see something that makes you stop in your tracks. To your left, a clearing. And in the clearing are several poles planted firmly in the ground. And atop each pole is a head. I'm gonna keep moving. There's clearly no place to linger. You must press on. A large X painted on a rock nearby is obviously intended as a warning not to venture any farther. But the road forks, left and right. You cannot be sure which path you are warned not to take. The right-hand path continues to climb, and the left-hand path winds down the side of the hill. Well, you know, I gotta go to the mine, so. The climb continues up the hill for several hours until you are not far from the top. Then the faint sound of bustling activity reaches you. Trampling feet, grunting voices, and the clanging of metal against rocks. There is something ahead, hidden by ancient trees that line these slopes. Let's follow the sound. You leave the path and continue through the woods. A short distance onwards, you hide behind a tree. A survey clearing. A number of goblins are in the clearing, working at the mouth of an open cave. They trudge in and out of the opening, carry large bowls in their arms, piled up with glistening rocks and dull metallic nuggets. Watch them work. Stay hidden. Get a sense of the scale of the operation. There are at least 30 goblins inside the cave, each coming out every few minutes or so with a new pail of stones. Then there were other goblins working in the clearing with hammers, smashing the rock into small pieces, extracting the metals from inside, loading into carts, and finally pushing the carts away down a track between the trees. It's quite some operation, but not without its weaknesses. There are too many goblins to create any kind of distraction, but they move away into the trees very often, and sometimes the cave is left unguarded. Try to slip inside the cave. You creep closer, moving around the side of the hill, nearer to the entrance of the cave. Then when all is quiet, you seize your chance and race across the clearing to the mouth of the cave. In the mine. You pause for a moment at the cave's mouth, but no one has seen you. Following the passage cautiously, you move between the cool rock walls of the mine, passing and ignoring ladders that lead down into the clamoring hearts of the mine, where 100 goblins sing as they work. Eventually, you reach a junction. I'll go the right way. You follow the passage to the right. It twists around deeper into the hillside. Ends as a sealed wood door. Try the door. The door is locked. Well, you know what we could do for this. There might be something really bad behind the door, but I want to open it. Stop. You cast the spell. The door shudders as the lock turns over and the handle moves on its own accord. On your guard, you watch as it swings open. The room beyond is large and appears to be a storeroom of some kind. In one corner is a pile of black rocks, and more rocks are held in a bucket nearby. These flicker with a dull glistening light, but most intriguing of all is what stands in the center of the space, a mechanical apparatus, perhaps a press or a stone cutter, being operated by a large and powerful ogre. He does not for the moment seem to have noticed you. Watch him work. Sorcery has not noticed your sudden arrival in the room. You stay in the shadow and watch as the ogre goes about his task. He is dropping stones from the black pile onto the end of the machine and turning a heavy handle, crushing the rock. Something is coming out the other side. To see what, you would have to approach him. Okay. Boldly, you step out the doorway into the pool of candlelight that fills the room. The ogre stops working immediately and turns to face you. Growling incomprehensibly like the slug he is, you will not be able to reason with him. Cast a spell. Fuck you. Let's see what we got. Walk. We got the walk, which creates the shield. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Wall, which creates the invisible wall. That might help. I don't. No. They're faking me out. Rock. I can't do that. D. Dim. That might work, actually. Cause stupidity, sure. Dim! You cast a spell and wait for it to take effect. The ogre lunges, but then stops, shaking its head, looking at you and then itself with a puzzled expression. It takes a step forward, then back. It is thoroughly confused. Pinch something and run. While the ogre is still blundering around the room, you dash over to one of the buckets near the machine and grab a glistening gem. It is an emerald processed by the ogre's machine. It must be worth around 10 pieces. Not bad at all. I'll just leave. The ogres begin to crash into things and roar with anger. The poor thing will have a headache when the spell wears off. You don't want to be around when that happens. Head back to the fork in the passage. The sunlight from outside is very tempting. Let's, no, not rewind. Let's just continue in the mines because, whatever. The passageway continues until you reach a large stone-cut door blocking your way forwards. For a mine, this place seems very well built. Perhaps it will serve as a camp if the war comes. Try the door handle. Something else. You try the door, it opens. The room beyond is dirty with soot from the mines. So it could almost be a pit filled with night itself, with crystals in the rock for stars. In the far wall, you can just make out another door leading deeper into the mine. In the middle of the room is a table, at which a large filthy goblet is sitting. He raises his head as you enter and smells the air. Perhaps he is almost blind from being so underground for so long. Your smell is strange, intruder. He challenges. You're not permitted here. I'm a friend. Are you now? I'm not. The goblin raises to his feet. In his hands he holds a large stone club. Let's see if we can use magic on him. Why would I ever fight someone? Can I like... Well, okay, I can't do that. I don't want to like... No, I'm not using Zap. Raz? Is that... Okay. I'm checking it one more time. So it's Tell. Tell, Raz, or Zap, right? Yeah. No, and I don't... How much does Zap cost? Okay. Cost 3. I might as well just fight him. The goblin beats its club until the open palm and paces towards you. You try to seize the advantage with a deep lunge for his throat. He raises his club defensively in time to stop your blow. He is left breathless, but otherwise unharmed. He growls at you. You strike again, readying a forceful blow. You huddle forward. The goblin is wide open, club raised, and cannot defend himself. The goblin's eyes are bloodshot. Ah, fuck. You attempt an attack and suffer for it. The goblin raises his hefty club and brings it crashing down onto you. You're cut off balance. You stagger backwards on the table. Defend. And then we super emotional. Stealing your courage, you move in, aiming to trap the goblin against the cave wall. Moving swiftly, you aim for his heart. The goblin stumbles and you have him. Sword pierces right through his neck and the club drops to the floor. With the goblin defeated, there's nothing to stop you from going farther into the mines. Let's search the room first. Before you move on, you quickly scour the corners of the dark room in case there's any gold or weapons lying around. You find nothing till you search the goblin himself. He's wearing a silver key on the chain around his neck. Now go onwards. Farther into the mine. This is just like Minecraft. You open the door into a pitch black passageway. Oh, yeah. I'm not just gonna walk into the darkness. Do I have like create light or something? No, please. Why is it gonna bar? Well, I can't do that. Huff. How? Do it. Okay, that's my number one. Is sus? Yes, but sus just tells me if there's danger, which is funny. Ooh. Oof. Okay, I'm just gonna... Yeah, the reaction. How? You throw up the spell and then consider both directions inside your mind. You begin to feel quite different as you face the door when you face back into the room. The pitch black deep invokes only a hot sweat, but looking back makes you feel calm. Okay. but I want to keep going. You push into the depths of the mine. Dust falls from the low ceiling. Your hand moves over the precious wooden beams and the hole that hold the walls from tumbling in. Then you stumble, foot catching a support. The support cracks. A piece of rock the size of your head tumbles through a gap in the ceiling, nearly missing your skull. A rain of stone and dust follows. Push on ahead to avoid the falling rocks. You are gripped by an insane idea, racing into the darkness of the unknown mine, as the only exit is sealed off behind you. Do it! The crashing shaft behind you lends you speed, then suddenly you grasp as your foot fails to touch the ground below. I'm falling. You begin to drop. There can only be moments. Cast a spell. Can I, like, stop fall? No, that is not gonna help me. Zen? No, well, I don't have that. Float in air! Fall! You cast a spell and your fall is broken instantly. You float gently to the ground below, landing softly on your knees. No need to cast sus. You pick yourself up and look around. You're at the base of a deep shaft. Haha. It's hard to be sure how far you've fallen, but the top is lost in darkness. Still, it's not pitch black down here. A chink of light penetrates somewhere far away. A crack nearby or a tunnel mouth a long way off, you cannot tell. Calmly and without delay, you start walking towards the point of light. It gets larger, but slowly, and your hopes lift with every step. It's definitely a way up. You can see sky beyond. Your hands are running along the tunnel wall to keep you straight. Then the ceiling comes down and you crawl for a few feet. Then you freeze. Your hand is resting on something furry. Pull back. You pull back for a moment to see if the furry shape will move, but it stays still, asleep or dead. At any rate, you cannot turn around another way to go. There's no other way. Investigate the thing. You reach out with a thinking that whatever it is at least very small. You grip close the thing. It's not warm. That's a good sign. It squashes easily as if its bones have been turned to jelly. Pull it close to yourself and realize you've been holding a pair of fur boots. You laugh with relief and quickly scramble the rest of the way along the tunnel to the sunlight. It's an opening. Fur boots. The climb out of the cave takes several hours, but is worth every moment when you emerge into the cool, fresh air once more. You have escaped with your life. Take a moment to examine the boots. You turn the boots over in your hand. You recognize the fur. It's borin skin. They will be very useful if you head through snowy climates. Then it's time to get moving. You set off once more, looking for a path to get your bearings. Okay. Cool. Out of the mines. The path climbs again up a low hill, covered over with thick brushes and shrubs that snag at your clothing. Halfway up, you hear a sound. Twigs breaking. Freeze. You freeze as a large creature the size of a bear emerges directly in front of you. It's black and white fur, a long bushy tail that trails up behind. It growls menacingly. Put an edge around it. Edge around the rug. They slip towards the bushes, but clearly something about you or what you carry attracts the beast's attention. Sniffs the air and moves towards you. Okay, let's see. It's the honey. It wants me. What's the point of giving me the K if I can't use it? Nap? That's not gonna work. You can't just do law. How much does law cost? Cost 3. Sap? Yeah, that might be a good one. 6. Let's make the bear depressed. Sap! Launch the spell, and the snow on the face of the creature turns into a glum glower. It's still coming at you, but only half-heartedly. No. The miserable creature has two main weapons. Its long crawls and its terrible smell. Can they quickly be your best chance of avoiding losing your last meal? Swing your sword in a mighty arc, but the skunk bear doesn't want to attack. It rears up and waits, trying to stay out of reach. You can almost smell the creature growing enraged, and quickly duck behind a tree, emitting a miserable smell like a graveyard had been dumped around you. The skunk bear thumps forward, unleashing a terrible stench as it comes near. For a moment, it is close enough that the terrible smell that hovers around you fills your nostrils. You retch, almost staggering. Wallops the air with its thick tail. You risk an attack, standing firm. You swing a mighty blow at the skunk bear just as it tries to crush you. You cut its attack down. There you go. The smell of fear, perhaps? Dropping your weight. You chop a mighty stroke against the skunk bear. Then your sword finds a soft place in the skunk bear's body. The beast roars and trembles to the ground, quite dead. No stamina lost. Flawless fighting. With the creature defeated, you wipe your sword clean and leave this place behind. The path leads down through another valley and back up the hill. 2 hours passes. The sun is now just past its zenith, and everywhere a dusty heat rises from the baked earth. You're worn out almost to the point of physical lapse. You need food and rest, and no more trouble. Today has been too punishing already. You begin to think about where you would stay for the night. Another night sleeping out in the open would best be avoided. You see a village set into the hill. Smoke rises from the stacks. The houses are well set with stone, and the bases, at their bases, and thatched roof of grasses and thick leaves. There is usually more than just one street running through the center of town, but it is as though this place, once rich, had its heart scooped away. Litter surrounds the buildings, and on the edge of the village are rows and rows of empty, abandoned houses. You continue your slow trudge along the path. I see something. Does this game save? That's what I want to know. Like, do I have to play this all in one setting? I'm gonna look that up while I continue to play. You walk into the village. Young hill dwellers pass you and stare at your strange clothes. You nod back respectfully. Look at the people. Their own attire is rough by comparison to your gear. They wear their hair long but piled up on their heads. These people are ghastly poor. The village is like a ghost town, here on the knife's edge of the backlands. Rest in an inn. You stop a passerby and ask for an inn, and they lead you there directly. The woman who runs the place stands in the doorway with her arms folded. Are you from the king? She demands. No, I'm merely a traveler. The woman narrows her eyes. This is a guest house, the best in Cristanti. Only guests stay, and any guest of mine knows it costs me 3 gold pieces to host a man overnight and 2 to feed him. But it's all between friends. No, I will save the emerald because it said it was worth 10. I need to eat first. Food is just being served. The woman steps aside, and you go inside to sit down. A few minutes later, her husband appears with a steaming pot of skunk bear stew. As you eat, you can't help but remember the terrible smelling beast dead on the path. The thought makes you gag. You wolf it down all the same and leave your coins on the table. Do you want a room as well? The woman asks. Thank you. The woman shows you the way to the upstairs room. There are 3 other guests already staying and asleep, so you settle quickly. The bed is not clean, but it is comfortable. After the long day and all its near escapes, you are grateful beyond measure for the rest. Okay. Yes. Sleep. Your dreams are vivid once again. You are walking endlessly, the hills moving up and down under your feet like a rippling sea. Every step exhausts you, but no step moves you forward. Meanwhile, a tall black creature strides towards you, wreathed in a foul-smelling smoke, and in the distance a deep voice is booming with laughter. The long, cruel fingers of one hand are curled around the metal frame of a crown, and with the other he beckons you forward, as if into a trap. Okay. I'm gonna say that's all I'm gonna do for today, because, yeah, I'm just gonna continue this another time, probably next time I stream. But honestly, I'm liking this. I think tomorrow, uh, I'll just stream this earlier, and then I'll try to finish off part 1 at least, because I think part 1's pretty short. It's not like super short, but I know it ends when you get up here, and I'm like halfway there, kind of. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I hope other people are enjoying it too. Uh, for my own sanity, I looked it up, and some people are like, no, the game should save when you close it, but other people are like, actually the game doesn't save sometimes. So I'm just gonna leave this open till tomorrow, and I'll just do it like that. So thank you for watching, and I'll see everyone tomorrow. Bye bye.